And who can say why your heart cries when your love lies only time? Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing Only Time by Enya. It's such a beautiful song. I've always felt such a relaxed peace and calm when I listen to it. And I feel that same peace and calm when I play it, maybe even more so. It's fairly simple. Once you learn the main arpeggio pattern, everything falls into place pretty quickly. The bridge is a little tricky because it changes time signatures, but I'll walk you through exactly how that works. Let's just get into it. Okay, so first off, I recommend getting the chords and lyrics chart. I put a link down in the description. That'll help you follow along and see where the chords line up with the words. And let's start off by learning the main arpeggio pattern that we're going to do throughout the song on each of the different chords. We'll start with an E flat major chord. That is the chord the song starts on and the key that the song is in. So here are the notes of an E flat major chord. It's got an E flat in it, a G, and a B flat. But we're not going to use all 6 of these notes. In the left hand, we're only going to use the outside notes, so fifths on E flat and B flat. And then in the right hand, we're not going to do the B flat. We're only going to do the E flat and the G. And in terms of the finger numbers, that is 5, 1, 1, 3. So thumbs are 1 on both hands. So here is the pattern. The black numbers are left hand, yellow numbers are right hand. So it goes like this: 5, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1. It makes a very nice kind of symmetrical shape. And you'll notice after you play the bottom number, you're kind of going back and forth between right hand notes and the left hand thumb, just kind of back and forth. The reason why I gave you finger numbers instead of notes is we're going to be mapping this exact same pattern onto different chords. And in terms of the way we're thinking about the timing of this, we're counting in eighth notes. So first off, we're in 4/4 time. So the overall pulse of the song is going to be thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and slow, but we're dividing that beat in half and playing on each one of the eighth notes like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what I would do is just spend a little time looping this pattern and getting used to it. I'm going to hold the sustain pedal down to help it all ring together and sound really nice and lush. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So mess around with that until it feels kind of easy and you can do it on autopilot. And just a note, if you don't have a sustain pedal, you'll probably want to hold this pinky down the whole time, because we do want to hear that the root of the chord kind of underneath all those other notes. Okay, so let's get into the meat of the song. The song starts with the intro, which is just 4 measures of this E flat. And just to be totally clear, that pattern we just learned, one full pass of that pattern is 1 measure. So the intro is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get into the singing. Who can say where the road goes? So we've got some chord changes now. Here's the chords for the verse. So 1 measure on the E flat. Then we're gonna move our hands up to the C minor. So we're gonna voice it like this. The left hand fifths is gonna be C and G. Right hand's gonna do C and E flat. This is middle C, by the way, just for reference. And once you have that chord shape, you can just put that pattern onto it. And it's just 1 measure of it. Then we're gonna move down to A flat major. Now notice this is the exact same shape as the E flat major was. So both the left hand notes are black keys, A flat and E flat, and then the right hand's on an A flat and a C. Where the day flows, once again only 1 measure, then only time, 1 measure of E flat. And then it repeats around. So just notice that the line starts with an E flat and ends with an E flat. So when you turn it around, you end up being on E flat for 2 measures. And who can say if your love grows as your heart chose? Only time. And then at the end of the verse, you'll see on the chord chart, there's just one extra E flat measure before we're going to go into the chorus. I know I mentioned in the intro that I was holding the sustain pedal. Just a note that you'll need to lift it up whenever you switch chords. Otherwise, too many notes will start ringing together. It'll get muddy, so just a little lift, lift, lift. Just want to mention, I am singing this an octave lower than Enya sings it because it fits my voice a little bit better, but this is the original key, and if you can do it, you can sing it up exactly like she does. So then we're on to the chorus, and the chorus is really more the same in terms of the piano playing. The chord progression is slightly different. Here's that progression. So it's mostly chords we've already done, except that B flat major. So that's going to be pinkies on B flat, thumbs on F, and then for the right hand, B flat, and third fingers on D, and you're just going to do that exact same pattern we've been doing. So with the words, well, there's not really words here. It's just kind of vocalizations, D, da, day, ye. I tried to write it out as much as I could on the chord chart based on what I hear. You can kind of feel it out. There's a few layers of her vocals singing different stuff. So however you hear it, but it's going to sound something like this. Dee da day, dee da day, dee da day, oh, dee da day, do, do da day, dee da da day, do da. So just notice at the end there's two full measures of the B flat before we go back to another verse. Who can say? Cool. One little detail that I think is kind of optional. There's one of the instruments, there's lots of layers on the recording. One of the instruments does a little walk down on the way back to the C minor on dee da day, oh, dee da da. You could actually do that maybe on that D. So it's just walking down from E flat, D. If you want to kind of squeeze that in, dee da day, oh. On the fourth beat of that measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you could hit the left hand on the B flat on just like you would, and then land in that. Again, totally optional. I might throw it in though. So after that first chorus, you have another verse. It's just like the first verse, just different words. Another chorus, just like that first chorus. Then we've got a third verse. Once again, really similar to the first and second verse. The only difference is there's a little tag at the end of it, an extra A flat to E flat. Here's how that sounds. Okay, from the second line of that verse, I'll just play it fast. And who can say when the day sleeps, if the night keeps all your heart? Okay, then we have this extra night keeps all your heart. So that's what's different about that verse. Two measures of E flat, and then we've got the bridge. So let's talk about that bridge. So here's the chords for the bridge. We have a couple of chords that haven't come up yet, but the big thing about the bridge is the time signature changes. First line here, we are now in 3/4 time, so we're thinking 1, 2, 3, and we're just hitting those chords on every one of those counts. So we've got a G flat chord. That's going to be G flat, B flat, and D flat. Then we need a D flat major chord. We can keep our pinky on this D flat and move like that. So second finger goes on A flat, thumb goes on F, and then for the B, you can play it like that. Thumb on the G flat, middle finger on B, and then pinky on E flat. And with my left hand, I'm just gonna do single bass notes on the note that the chord is named after, starting with my second finger on the G flat. So G flat, D flat with pinky, up to B with the thumb, back to the G flat. And here's where the counting comes in. We're in 3/4 time, like I said. Notice there's 3 chords in that first measure, and so that you're just hitting a chord on every count. 1, 2, 3, and then when we land in this second measure here, that's just G flat the whole way. 1, 2, 3. So it loops around 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, with those vocals going D, da, de, de, 2, 3 every time. Now, if you're using the sustain pedal, you definitely need to get some lifts in there, because if it's held down, it's gonna get really muddy really quick. You could opt to not use the sustain pedal. It's gonna sound a little choppier. You'll get those little silences in between. If you use the pedal, lift, lift, lift. All right. Once you're through those 3 lines, we've got another line that starts really similarly, but as soon as we're in this last line here, we're back to 4/4 times. So this first measure, we've got the G flat, we've got the D flat, we've got the B, that's the first 3 counts, and then for the 4th count, we're just gonna flat that down to a B flat chord. So from that B chord, everything just moves down 1. You can just step the left hand down to B flat, and then these notes move down to there, F and B flat, and then this E flat moves down to a D. And then finally, we're gonna land in an E flat major chord. And I'm gonna hit it like that. So G, B flat, and E flat here. Notice that's really smooth getting from the B flat chord. You can just kind of pivot with your 3rd finger staying in the same place. But as soon as I hit that E flat chord, I'm just gonna drop back into that arpeggio as we prepare for the final verse. Who can say? Let me just play through that whole bridge. D, da, de, de. D, da, de, de. D, da, de, de. D, da, de, de. Oh. Who can say? Okay, so then we're in verse 4. Verse 4 is just like the other verses, I guess most similar to verse 3 because it has the little extra A flat to E tag. Not only that, but it actually does that twice. So we finish the 2 main lines, then we do who knows only time. Then again, who knows only time. When you land on that final E flat, you're gonna do it 3 times total with the arpeggio, and then just kind of leave a little space here and land on a final E flat. I might actually add that there. So just on that last chord, I'm gonna voice kind of the more full E flat voicing here, just like we did at the very end of the bridge. So with the G, B flat, E flat. You can hear on the Enya recording there's a high E flat kind of speaking out there. And then the song is over. All right, awesome. Thank you for watching this far. I'm gonna do a full cover now so you can see how all these parts fit together in the complete piece. If you enjoyed this, please do subscribe. Click the little bell so you know when I put out more videos like this. And also drop a comment. Let me know what song you want to hear next. I can't promise that I do them all, but I do read them all. And actually, this was kind of a request. Someone requested a different Enya song. And then I said, yeah, let's do an Enya song, but I did this one because I love it. Anyway, here's my version of Only Time. Who can say where the road goes, where the day flows? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time. Dee-da-day. Do da day, dee da.